So Forex Shark hands out some, smelling salts to influencers and the community, and kind of lets us know it's up to us. Oh, and 30 people. I'm really humbled by that. So hashtag let's get to it. Hey guys, how's it going? I'm still getting used to this whole thing without, Mr. Matt, but welcome. I just started off by always saying we're going to talk about some drip stuff, some DeFi stuff, and I am not a financial advisor. Those people get licensed, and I'm not them. But what I am is a former information systems security officer for the Department of Commerce, as well as I served in a role as a consultant for Accenture, and I've worked for Ernst & Young as well. And I've traveled internationally to represent my company or companies in their security posture. On top of that, I've been a dev for at AWOL Time Warner as well. So I've got a different level of insight when it comes to the architecture of something like an animal farm, but that's technical insight, not financial insight. So anyway, let's get to it. Let's see, I got a comment. Volume, great. Oh, great volume today. I'm like, oh no, please. Please don't tell me I've been talking again without volume. Thank you. All right, so let's get to it. Wake up call, because that's what it was about. So Forex really just said, folks, Drip is not coming back with his support until he's done promoting Animal Farm. That's what's going to happen. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? Hold on. I know this is a little bit late, but I really like this music. No, not that one. No, this one. Yeah, that one. Okay. Fascinating. No wonder you guys. So I don't know what you meant, but I'll go back to where I was. So, Drip, he emphasized that he's not going to just stop promoting Animal Farm. We've all put a lot into it, whether that's just being around for Forex or not. He just can't stop the promotion for this big thing that's an improvement on the Drip ecosystem, but is geared still to help it. So what we have to be, the influencers, the community, you have to say is, when you got into this, at least for me, I understood that it was a certificate of deposit and that it would pay me out in a token that I was hoping would appreciate to some value one day. It wasn't about, constantly selling it to get money in the now, but I can understand why people do that. So, Forex going live tonight. Yes, Mitchell, he's going live at 1, I think, in an AMA. And so, it's not like Bitcoin, where you just look at it. My monitor was going to go off. Where you just look at it and go, oh, it's going down. I better sell it. At least for me. It's something that you can say, oh, I'm going to keep accumulating. People have to buy Bitcoin that was at one time meant nothing to anyone. And they would just have to look at it and they would have to put more capital in. But Forex, this architecture, you can just keep getting more of it to say, I want to accumulate it. And when we did that as a community initially, we really made progress. But I think we had a higher bar because at that time, it was a 10 drip requirement to get in, and drip was $10. So even at $30, even at $3, people were still saying, ugh, I've got to sell something to get in. But when there's no limit, and Forex did that, by the way, as usual, to try to help people that couldn't get in because the price was at 100. 10 meant like $1,000, right? So that's what he says. Oh, cool, Mitchell. Mitchell said that he's accumulating. So A lot of people are price watching. I get it, but it's one of the problems with price watching. You forget why you're doing it in the first place, right? You're doing it to, at least I am, in the community that I talk to, a lot of us, we did it to say, let's get a lot of drip. Now, at the time, drip was like only 1 million. Okay, this is my drum poker. But it was at 1 million drip, and now it's at 3 million. Okay, it's a different ball game, but for the price watchers, there's another dynamic at play when it comes to looking at now to say, okay, there's 3.x liquidity now versus 1 million. But at the time when drip was at 100, there were less than 100,000 wallets. So for me, the metric that I'm looking at now is wallets and liquidity. Because if we can get those wallets up to 400,000 and liquidity is at 3 million, to me that's a bullish sentiment. And I'm saying that with wallets still increasing daily quite significantly, and he's not promoting it at all. And now Forex has a new formula that he's going to introduce, that he's learned from the animal farm, that he's going to apply to drip. It's so troubling. But this is one of the things that I saw when I was watching influencers was, you know what, Potter, you have a totally different, unique perspective because you were a dev, because you were an admin, because you were a consultant, because you had to manage and help architect very complex international structures that had to align to international auditing standards, right? So they can't see what you're seeing, right? So that's why they're going, yeah, I think like you. Yeah, you're not, right? It doesn't mean I'm great. There's a bunch of people like me, a bunch, but guess what? They didn't leave their job. They're still working full time, and they'll be here soon. When they start to see that, hey, you know what, I can support my family and do what Potter's doing. But right now, those guys are still working. But they're going to come, and the kind of infrastructure that, in my opinion, they're going to come, and the kind of infrastructure that Forex is putting together, that's ridiculous. This is the auditing capabilities, the transparency, the SDLC process that it's following. All of these things are best practices, they're leading practices. And people are still fleeing from drip. So why can't you guys see it? Because they can't see it. So I don't advertise this channel. I want it to be like, some secret place because I don't want you to like or subscribe unless you're getting something. I can only talk to a small segment of people, and those people have to be motivated to listen to this stuff because it's kind of complicated. But if you're patient enough, we can get through it together. All right, let me see. Cool. Still claiming twice a week, but not selling the drip. Accumulating a small bag in my wallet for when price recovers to help me get initial investment back. Thoughts on that strategy? Well, since you asked, I've found a new strategy, and I'm going to go through different stages of our talk today. So if I don't say it, remind me and I'll go back to it, but I remember. Took no profits from drip yet. I'm either getting rich or going bust. Only risk capital. Good for you. And I love that you talked about risk capital, because if you take a look at any other time in history, when we would go through this kind of crunch, if you go back to like 2008, 2009, or even 2018 is when Bitcoin finally showed that the Fed now has not only a way to find out when people are too hawkish, but find out when they're too bullish. Looking at Bitcoin, they can look at crypto assets for the first time and gauge. He can use that when he's like, you guys are getting out of pocket too quick. And so he uses the rise in interest rates. Thank you, R2. R2 agrees. He uses the rise in interest rates to, in my opinion, to, look at that crypto sector. So that's a new gauge. So I like what you said about the risk capital. You did ask, so fire away. I will, I promise. and people talking to each other. He did that about for 9 months. So yeah, and I think my strategy is kind of unique. All right, I'm gonna give you one of them. Matt pinged me this week, and he was like, "Hey, let's do dogs." And I said we're gonna do a show on dogs. All right. But I'm gonna give you a sneak peek. So I already hinted at this in the red signals for drip that you just can't, that I cannot ignore, are the liquidity problems. But then I already gave it away. I was supposed to talk about this, but I already talked about it. So the fix for me is taking a look at liquidity and wallets, right? Not people, wallets. I believe that when we get back to the 400, for every million drip, 100,000 wallets to me is a price range of drip from 51 to 100. Completely unscientific, not paid, no, but that is what my numbers show me. All right, so now let's visit something I like to call Oil's Corner. All right, what did I put in Whale's Corner? Okay, whales have zero incentive. And by the way, I've watched videos with people who have 4 full wallets, but they have zero incentive to do anything other than take out and go directly to the animal farm, because Animal Farm is paying. There's a reason why it has $150 million in it. And the strategy that was outlined, just the strategy and the architecture that was outlined by Forex, means that when he said, you want to get in early, I can't tell you to get in early, but you want to get in early, I'm starting to understand, unlike the Federal Reserve, where they're more like piggy bank, they just keep adding more truffles, they keep adding more dollars. The Animal Farm just keeps tightening it, right? And it's going to tighten it so that it's going to be a lending platform. It's ridiculous. So what whale who doesn't understand, maybe somebody they hired to be say what I just said to them, for them to go, I think I understand that we're going to make money, and they ape in. When Forex begins to advertise this, the constriction, according to the theory, will cause the price to go up. We're already starting to see that with a very low turnout. It's happening with dogs. Now, one of the conditions with that is that, dogs might sell. I'm not going to go there. If I get technical, I'll go down the rabbit hole. But the bottom line is whales aren't going to do anything other than make their money. I don't care if they're an influencer. I don't care what they say. They're going to make their money. And one of the things that, they're making big money daily. So, all right. Now, this kind of goes to what Cole was talking about. So, dog plays is what I want to talk about today in my builder Animal Farm strategies. Dun, dun, dun. I wish I had a little jingle. So people have communicated the farms and the auto compounder are the same, but I've tested it and that's not true. Probably not as easy to see with whale wallets. But, this is something that I thought about when I was taking a look at my Animal Farm positions in dripfi.app. I'm not a big player, right? I was a big player, not really, in Drip. Drip made me a big player. But then I kind of moved that on because I had to test in Animal Farm. But I'm not one of the influencers who's showing you a wallet with like 10 BNB in it or 100 BNB. I'm not that person. I'm building it. Because for me, if you just put $5,000 in and you get, you're like, oh my God, I made $5,000 in 6 months. No, you made your own $5,000 back. So for me, it's about building it. And when I look at dogs, like I have such a not big amount that I can see the numbers moving in a percentage way that I think would be glossed over if I had a bigger wallet. So the strategy that I want to reveal, and I'll talk about it more on tomorrow's show with Matt, is that my experience was, I was like, okay, Forex totally said if I was somebody, I would take my drip and do things in Animal Farm. And one of the things I would do was I would buy dogs and auto stake them. And then I would buy BNB and dogs and I would stake them to make pigs, and uh, with the auto staking, you would make dogs. And I'm like, Forex Shark doesn't say stuff like that unless he knows like it means something. But I didn't have anything, and I was still building on drip, so I decided to test it. And so what I noticed was, after I staked the dogs, what even Ray said, like, or everybody says, but specifically Ray, he showed at the bottom how it's constantly giving you B&B and dogs, and it's saying, hey, while it collects here, I'm going to buy pigs for you. Now, the farm does the exact same thing, except when you deposit that, it compounds it. Right? So the advice some people have been giving is, it doesn't matter if it's in the dogs auto staking or if you put it in the animal farm. My research has shown that I'm getting better returns on pigs by taking it out at a certain point for me, taking it out of the auto staking pool, and there's not a claim fee other than MetaMask fees or blockchain fees, and then I'm putting that in the Forex farm, and the results for my pigs have significantly outpaced that if I just left them in that one. That's my experience. And then what I'm doing with those pigs is I'm putting those in Pigpen, which, because of Forex's attention to the algorithm, it's really paying BUSD very well, almost rivaling drip, but I don't have as much, right? So the other thing, I can't tell you about that. That's too much. I'm going to save that one next time. There's another plain drip BUSD that I think Forex might announce today at 1, because I'm seeing some stuff from one of the farms that I'm in. I'm going, why is the garden performing better? And I'm taking things out. Normally, when you take things out of the garden, you get slapped down. Like, it's like, okay, you shouldn't have done that. You get a lot less. But one of those farms, I'm starting to wonder if staking in that farm is causing another action. And this is one of the reasons why I don't tell people things, because I don't have the data yet. And so that's just something I'm seeing. All right. Lastly, I wanted to talk about probably one of the most important things that we have, right? We're in Animal Farm, we're in Drip, and there's just so much Binance Fund, right? So I figured I would show you guys some stuff. So I'm not looking way over there. I'm gonna do this. I hope you guys are enjoying the show. I'm feeling a little bit more in my zone. Like, this is the stuff. No, not like this. Okay. All right. And so then I've got to share it. There's a lot of stuff you got to do when you're solo. Present, share screen, window. Where are you at? Okay. Is that the one? It's not the one. Give me a sec, guys. I'm sorry. Why is it showing that? Okay, that works. Okay, now I've got to go back to see if it's showing for you guys. Okay. So, Binance. All right. So a lot of the FUD that you hear is he's not doing this, that, and the other. I can't speak to it. I can only show you the data that I see. No opinions on this, because everybody knows that CZ is shrewd. So, but when it comes to, Binance not being regulated, he bought a company that's into regulation. That to me shows a trend. To me. He makes a very good point. He says you can't trust a bad player. You can only audit people and hope that they're doing what they say. That's for any business. That to me doesn't look shady. And he's doing it in front of everybody, specifically Bloomberg. Binance moves 2 billion Bitcoin for proof of reserves as part of an audit, right? And he let people know months ahead that this was going to happen. So people who say that he doesn't want to be audited aren't in alignment with what the news is saying. This was Monday, guys. This is another, don't just trust one source. Here's another source confirming, even though I did hear on Bloomberg that, he's requiring a regulatory exchange. And then just recently, Binance launches proof of reserve system for Bitcoin, Ethereum coming in the near future. For me, guys, this doesn't sound like, to me, I keep saying that over and over, but I think I'm supposed to. I'll get in trouble. That doesn't sound to me like, when I look at, oh my God, this blockchain, yes, I do think you should be on multiple blockchains. And I do think I want to talk about FTM and AVAX on one day. But when we take a look at this blockchain, I see them doing everything in alignment with me as a security professional is happy. The cybersecurity professional, I expect auditing, I expect open source application review, all the things that people are doing in DeFi. I expect to see that for DeFi exchanges, because you're trying to help people, keep their money. So I expect you to be doing everything that when the your fellow citizens who have power now tell you, hey, you have to do something, you just say, okay, I want to help the poor. So, in a nutshell, wow, 12 comments, holy cow. Were you two talking to each other? Okay. Oh, wait, I didn't go, wow, holy cow, guys. Okay, I'll go back here. Hey, 1,200. I bet you noticed that when you went over 1,000, you were like, oh, this is starting to change. So I can't wait to tell you guys about. I'll give a hint to what next Thursday's show is going to be about, but with the drip thing. But I want to see what Forex is going to announce, because if he announces it, then it's better to come from him. Yeah. Will be neat. What do you mean will be? It is neat. Potter Today's Shed is awesome. You're killing it. Love hearing these thoughts from you guys. Hey, thanks. I really appreciate that, because I want you to think about it. I'm really talking to myself unless you guys respond to me. I'm like in a room talking to myself, which is not, normal, allegedly. Yeah, exactly. I agree. I totally agree. That 1,200 is huge. Mitchell says the problem is you have to sell drip to get your profits, whereas dogs and pigs you get BNB and BUSD. Not so fast. The drip liberation contract may provide an answer to that, right? Like, there may be a way to say you're going to have to pay tax, because that's the way the system works, right? So everybody else can get paid. But there may be a way. I'm giving it away already, but I want to see what Forex is going to say at one. Maybe I'll do a short. I always tell Matt I'm going to do shorts. I don't know how to do shorts, and I'm afraid of them. They make me scared. We should always just pair them and put them in drip BUSD farm. Maybe I'm not giving financial advice. Got to keep it larger in the farms to get dogs. So when people, yeah, right. The one thing about the whole thing that he's setting up is it's like he's truly doing what he said he was going to do with drip, right? It's a passive income stream. He saw with drip, oh man, I'm making everybody take it out to profit from it. I need to fix this. And he did it in Animal Farm. So now when we stake things, they're going to stay there as he builds the wealth around his ecosystem. And as he said, he's not going to build another drip, right? But he loves drip and he wants drip to succeed. He said that. So, Anyway, I won't go there. Let's go be repeating myself. Yeah, and I have garden position, so I did claim Steve times and throw it in the farm to build that up. Seems to be working well so far. Well played, kind sir. Well played. Giving up the garden. Oh yeah, yeah. That is a strategy that some people are exercising, Mitchell. That they are doing what you're doing. I was doing that at one time, but I'm more like Cole now. Mitchell also said, I'm waiting for the lending. That will be the game. Man, let me tell you, that is such a game changer. But people's greed, my precious, on seeing the animal farm and saying, you know what, I'm going to put $1 over there, and they don't care about the fees. And if you're not, I think that it's almost criminal not to, and again, not advice. For me personally, it would be criminal not to be building drip. When you go back, you look at the history of Forex Shark, you look at his architecture, you review it, you listen to people's critiques, and then you look at the numbers yourself. To know that this is his homegrown project that he loves, and he says, hey, I'm coming back to get it now. It's just crazy that you would not build. And then when I introduced that dynamic with the liquidity and the amount of wallets, shut your face. Like, this is stupid that anybody's even going, I don't know, man. I think it's over, yo. That is only someone, and by the way, I apologize. I don't mean to be rude to anyone. I'm just saying, you can't see it technologically. If you don't see it technologically, everything I just said sounds like I'm just another person making up some words, but I'm telling you, if you put your own numbers together and you did your own research, you would see exactly what I'm saying. Cool. If he pulls off the lending idea without government crushing it, we're going to be laughing. So in alignment with that, his system, let me get rid of that banner. His system isn't really any different than Aave, right? You know what I mean? It's just saying, hey, while people think something's this valuable, you can lend it to yourself. But, I don't even see that when I look at it from my, FEMA audit lens. I don't see that one as one that they're going to go, well, let's tackle it. Let's put a lot of money behind that, because the bigger players, like, I think, and this is an aside, I think that what a lot of banks can see now is, wait a minute, they were holding crypto the way we were holding dollars. We've got the infrastructure to support wallets, crypto, and the regulation. Hello, FTX. I mean, Bank of America, like, there are going to be a lot of banks who are going to be like, we'll buy that, and we'll apply our regulatory lens on top of that. So in alignment with going back to what Forex is doing in government, I think based on my experience, that's not one. I would put the failure of Binance over that one. I didn't scroll down to the bottom. Dadgummit. Okay. Oh, hey Cole, thanks, man. I really appreciate it. I feel a lot more comfortable. Like, I didn't know what I was going to say to you guys. And if there's one thing the internet hates, is fake, right? So I'm not even a nice person. I just look like a nice person. Ask Matt. Matt will tell you. She's not nice, run. Mitchell, I would love to do the YouTubing, but not sure I'll be any good at it. No one's good at it. Like, you just get better. I loved watching Matt's first videos. Like, Matt had like the gumption of, Matt had like 2 viewers. He'd turn it on. He'd just be cooking, looking at the camera to see if anybody came in. I was like, that's who I want to be. If I could get BUSD for your drip. If you could get BUSD for your drip, you can, right? But you just have to swap it. I understand where you're going. Yes, I think that if you could have that transaction happen, that would be butter. I think that from what I'm seeing with the farms, there's something he's doing with drip. There's something he's doing with drip. And if the liquidity on the drip BUSD side starts getting absorbed, that's going to cause people, it's going to be arbitrage moment, right? And he's doing something and it's working. It's working because it's just working. I can't say because. Mitchell says I'm a believer. Cole says, I live in Ontario, Canada. Ontario has a real problem with anything that isn't fully regulated by the government. So I'm super interested to see how the lending. Yeah. I don't want to depend on the lending. I just think it helps I wouldn't ever use it. I'm here because I believe in the ecosystem, and as it grows, I want to own foundational tokens of whatever he builds. Like, people, in my opinion, people don't know it yet. Let me give you some background on me. I went into the internet when it was busy signals, right? Well, in high school, I did computers when people were like, what's computers? And I wasn't even supposed to have one. And so I did that. So I kind of saw where computers were going. I got on the internet, right? I got into cybersecurity. And now, there's blockchain. This is just an evolution. Like, where the puck is going is generally where God, by the grace of God, only God, am I able to get there, right? And I'm telling you that in my experience, everything that he's building looks like other architectures that I've seen built when a revolution occurs and a financial revolution occurs. And so everything that he builds off of this, I think in the crypto world, will be aligned like it is in the stock world to people who go big, except this is a crypto architecture. So I want to be in the foundational elements of whatever this becomes. Do I want to live off of it? Absolutely. But there's other things to be into. I'm talking. I'm rambling. All right. I'm honestly considering moving to get out of this province. I always think that if you're going to run away from a situation, it's just going to find you. So, again, my experience. You should join the Mega Live on Saturdays. I don't know what that is. So, okay. Guys, we did it. We got through the whole thing. Oh. Playing the goodbye music. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. How long did I go? Whoa, 30 minutes. Uh-oh. I had 2 shows in this thing. All right. Well, I enjoyed talking to you guys. Mitchell and Cole, thank you for hanging out. Again, I do not ask that you like, subscribe, or follow. And remember, this is not financial advice. Cool, not rambling. We love hearing this. Cool, dude. When I was at work and I wasn't doing this full time, I was like, oh man, I wish somebody else would talk to me like this. So I'm glad you guys like it because, when those big streams would go off, you'd go looking for little streams and you could never find them, about somebody who talked like we're talking to each other, like we could talk about this stuff all day. It's where loads of droppers talk. Okay. Yeah, they probably would get annoyed at me because I'd be like, oh, I know this and that. And they'd be like, whatever. We have more money than you. I was like, okay. Man, that flew by. Thanks so much, partner. It did fly by. Mitchell, thank you again. And on that note, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Game on.